The numbers are grimly stunning. 34,000 Iraqi civilians dead in 2006, most in the kind of sectarian violence which erupted today. Most, but not all. In fact, some Iraqi civilians who died were casualties of U.S. actions there, so-called collateral damage. We can't tell you the exact number killed by U.S. forces because we don't know. Sarah Holwinski is with the Campaign for Innocent Victims in Conflict.
The U.S. military doesn't keep numbers on civilian casualties.
We're keeping them honest, or trying to, but the Pentagon generally doesn't do civilian body counts. Why? For one thing, they point out, there's no federal law requiring it. But we do know the Pentagon says it has paid tens of millions of dollars to compensate innocent victims of war over the past 3 years with what have come to be known as condolence payments. We also know this. In 2005, the military received hundreds of claims for these payments. By the way, the going rate for condolence payments when an Iraqi civilian is killed by U.S. forces is generally about $2,500. But since we don't know who got what and who didn't, there's no way of telling how many civilians may have been killed and how many may have been injured by U.S. forces by accident. What's more, the military deals with each claim differently. Commanders literally decide who deserves what when an Iraqi civilian is killed.
The problem is it is very ad hoc across the entire country. So the documents that are required are different depending on which brigade you're talking to, depending on the commander. The commander is really in charge of this program, and so he or she can set down guidelines, either very vague or very specific.
Jonathan Tracy is a former U.S. Army captain, a military lawyer who was responsible for handing out the payments. He says the U.S. has to do this.
If there's not a system in place that handles that situation, you're not the harbinger of democracy and justice, and you're not helping these people. You're just going to breed ill will.
The Pentagon says the idea is to try to show that the U.S., without admitting any fault or responsibility, is expressing sympathy. But virtually all the critics say the one problem with the program is the lack of uniformity and the resentment created by inconsistent payments. Now, the new chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Pat Leahy, is looking into whether condolence payments need to be formalized by Congress, essentially requiring the Pentagon to count civilian dead.
I think if we had a consistent program run the same way everywhere, you would have the actual numbers, because it had to be part of that, to count where the numbers are. And it wouldn't be catch as catch can. As I said, our military in many areas do an extremely good job, but it's not consistent.
The Government Accountability Office is looking at how much money is paid to how many Iraqi civilians as a result of U.S. actions. When it issues that report, we'll be watching. Joe John, CNN, Washington.